All right, well, the quorum is present. Commissioner Brotherton said he'd be a little bit late today, and so he asked me to get started. So I'll call this meeting of the Jefferson Transit Authority Board to order. It's 1:32 p.m. Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. We'll start with a roll call with board members first. I'm Fred Obie from City of Port Townsend.
Vivian Keel, Quilcene School District.
Heather Dudley Nolet, Jefferson County Commissioner.
Heidi Eisenhower, Jefferson County Commissioner.
David Faber, City of Port Townsend.
And now the staff.
Amy Hall, Fixed Route Operations Manager.
Amy Brooke, Grants and Procurement Coordinator.
Kelly Olson, Marketing and Outreach Manager.
Carrie Matthews, Finance and HR Manager.
Sarah Peck, Mobility Operations Manager.
Amanda Watkins, Clerk of the Board.
Nicole Gauthier, General Manager.
Public comment is first. There were no public comments received prior to the meeting. Is that right?
Correct.
Does any member of the public wish to provide public comment at this time? If you are online, please raise your hand. If you're on the phones, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. Is there anybody online anywhere?
There's no hands up online.
Approval of the agenda. If there is no objection, the agenda will be approved as presented. Hearing no objection, the agenda is approved. Does anyone have any new items to add to the agenda? Finance reports. I guess that would be you, huh?
Yep.
All right.
As if you were able to review the packet, as you can see, May and June is included. We are in May, we're 42% is what our tracking figure is. And what that results in is sales tax, of course, is down this year compared to last year, about 14% for the month, 9% overall. But having said that, we are technically, our operating revenue, we're under budget. And so we're staying on track with receiving less amount of money in sales tax and still being operationally flush. Is there any questions that anyone can?
Yeah, what do you attribute that to?
Well, sales tax here for us is just down overall in the county.
I mean, how can we maintain our budget when it's down?
Well, we're maintaining the budget because we are making sure that we're tracking our expenses effectively. And so the budget was estimated a little bit higher than what we're receiving in sales tax right now. And so our operations costs are still maintaining what we need to be operating, and we're not spending extra money. And so we've been able to just only spend what we need to, with the idea that at some point we might be needing to spend less. So we're just trying to make sure that we're only operating with what we have to currently at the budget.
And that works.
Yeah, it works. I think I wasn't here when the best budget was estimated for last year, so it was a little bit higher.
Yeah,
and then with the overall economic slowdown, I would say in the area, that we're just kind of maintaining where our operations has kept us. So right now we're still in the black.
And there are some projects that due to staffing levels, we just haven't been able to get to. So that is kind of working in our favor, if you will. But, we had planned to do some HR work as far as having a consultant come in and kind of help us with some processes and procedures. And so we haven't started that project, and that was under operating. But there's some other things under operating that, we took a look at, and, we're really nice to haves, but not need to haves. And so just looking at how do we make sure that we're not outspending, and how can we save some of that money? Like if really we're possibly heading into a recession, what does that look like? So we're just being very aware and very strategic with what we're spending.
And so that also is similar to what June is, that we are still receiving a little bit less on sales tax. And so down on essentially what we estimated for our budget to come in, but expenses are still on track where we're under budget. And June would be about 50% of our budget, and we're just a hair under it. And so we're still kind of watching. We're in a good flow right now. but it's definitely on the horizon for next month. I will say that the sales tax this past month, which will hit our budget in 2 months, was up a little, which is nice to know that it's not continuing to be lower than estimated. So hopefully that will help us in being able to catch up with some of those projects later in the year. And it's David.
Yes, David.
Yeah, just tacking on to Vivian's question or in response to her, perhaps I can give a bit of a long-term perspective because I think I've been with Jefferson Transit now longer than anyone involved in this meeting. We've had very conservative budgeting over the years, and the sales tax take that the Jefferson Transit receives, even when it's down a little bit, is still very healthy compared to what our actual operating expenses are. So unless we see that really go significantly down, which I'm thankful that Nicole and your team are planning for the potential for kind of catastrophic budget scenario. Jefferson Transit's in a very healthy position economically. Really, I've built on the last 15-ish years of trauma-informed transit budget. That's one. And then the other thing to note, Fred and I last night in City Council got a report from the City Finance Department that had kind of similar messages that the sales taxes were coming in a little softer than expected based on the budget. But there are some big projects coming online with at least inside the city limits, which will generate sales tax for Jefferson Transit, including the high school is going to be breaking ground here soon, and that should start throwing off a lot of sales tax both at the end of this year, probably more substantially into 2027. But then there's also further construction happening with the hotel in downtown and Madrona Ridge and other places. So there's probably going to be some uptick in sales taxes. At least that was the prognostication of our finance team at the city. So hopefully that'll follow suit with Jefferson Transit. But I'm pretty comfortable with where we are with the numbers. So.
I will say that our budget is always fully funded, no matter what it is. So we already, no matter what, have that money in reserve. So even if we were at the point where we needed to do a transfer to bring more in for operating, it's already there in the bank.
Yeah, it's also good to stay on top of it.
Yeah, we would prefer not to, but
I mean, but
Other questions about finances? No? Okay. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve this consent agenda?
I'll move the consent agenda.
1 second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? It's like a unanimous vote. New business. Transit Development Plan adoption. Nicole, that would be you.
Yeah. So the group has been hard at work making changes to the transit development plan. Last meeting, the board had requested that staff kind of compile a list and talk about some of the changes that we had made, and maybe if we didn't adopt a change to maybe talk about why we hadn't. So in the packet before the TDP, we have included just a little breakdown of some of the comments that we received and either why we chose to make the suggested changes or why we did not. And then the full TDP is listed after that. Happy to answer any questions about the TDP or any of the changes we made or did not make.
Questions? Anybody have any questions about that? No? We've had some discussion about this in previous meetings and things, so are there any questions about what was changed?
I forgot to ask.
No additional questions from me.
really good presentation of the changes. I mean, your weird thing.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of tried to figure out a good way to kind of talk about that, but we had a lot of good suggestions. The majority of those suggestions were implemented in DP.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 26-20, adopting the 2026 to 2021 transit development plan.
I'll
it.
second that.
Your second.
Whoever wants to second
It's been seconded twice. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the transit development plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Unanimous.
All opposed? Abstentions? No, another unanimous vote. Moving on then to resolution 26-24, the capital budget adjustment. Nicole, that's you again.
Yes. So staff is coming back to the board asking for a capital budget adjustment. And this adjustment has to do with our fire suppression system and our concrete work project. So the board in December had approved it was $109,000 for Jefferson Transit to repair some much needed concrete work. When we were working with Barker Creek and putting our fire suppression project out for bid, we were looking at doing some bid alternates about including like what would it cost, since the fire suppression project requires us to tear up concrete and put concrete down, replace it. What would it cost if we were looking at just rolling in our concrete work into that project? So one project, one time they're coming out, it just would reduce costs. So we put the project out to bid. We got several responses back, ranging quite a bit. But we found that by rolling that concrete work into this project, we were actually saving quite a bit. So we put a wish list together of all the concrete that we would want to repair back in our yard near our fuel island, and then also at our bus loop. We're seeing some pretty substantial concrete work, repair work that needs to be done there. So I am asking the board to increase the line item on concrete repair from $109,000 to $300,000. That would allow us to repair all of our concrete at the same time with one contractor and just kind of get it done this year and not have to piecemeal that project out.
Any questions?
Can I just kind of summarize to make sure that I'm capturing everything? So the increase from $109,000 to $300,000 does not reflect a trifold increase in the cost of this project. It actually represents expanding the scope of the project as well.
Yes, to a degree. When we went out essentially last year to get some quotes on concrete repair, it was significantly less. Mm-hmm. But we did see, it's almost as if when the concrete starts breaking down, it starts breaking down pretty fast. Mm-hmm. And so some of the work was kind of elevated from, it would be nice to repair this, to we really need to repair this. Yeah. So it's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. Also, what I've learned is if you have contractor come out or a group come out to do concrete work, it's very expensive just to get them out.
Mobilization.
Yes.
Recording and
so if they come out all at once, you're only paying that mobilization one time instead of multiple times if we're doing it piecemeal. So it actually made a little bit more sense if while we have them out here to just get it all done.
So you're expanding the scope of this ask, but you're also going to be basically reducing the scope of future asks.
Correct.
And all of this goes into the current. Yeah, that's great. That is the way I understood it. I just wanted to make sure it was.
Well, just out of curiosity, what was the jump from when you got bids last year to now?
I think materials, companies that were willing to come out and do the work. By rolling it into our other project, it just made it a more attractive project to even bid on. And then just really looking at all of the concrete work. So this 109 didn't include some other areas, but now it's like, well, okay, if they're gonna come out, let's repair it so that it's not a situation later.
But when you said quite a bit, what does that mean? You said it would cost quite a bit more now than it did last year.
Right, the 300,000
Because of
versus,
the expansion, not because of the cost of the.
well, I would say both. Just the time, materials, availability of the contractors to come out. So we saw an increase there, but also the adding in of additional areas.
I'm trying to figure out the scope of the project is expanded, but also the cost is expanded. So what part of that is the cost expansion?
I think the cost of concrete is almost doubled
Oh, okay.
just for the base price. Granted,
Yeah.
in the bid it's an actual bid that they can only operate at a certain amount. But I'm assuming that estimated cost of what they're saying they can bid it to us is higher than what the original bid went out for. So just the raw material.
Just trying to get a sense of the scale of it. Double's pretty scalable.
Other questions? Hearing none, we look for a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 26-24, authorizing an amendment to the approved capital budget for fiscal year 2026.
Second it.
Moved and seconded to approve resolution 26-24. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, very good. We'll note that Commissioner Brotherton has joined us. Would you like to take over?
Yeah, no. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much sorry, I had a meeting I could not get out of. 15,909 ballots officially counted in Jefferson County, by the way. So we're second in the state as of the last time our auditor checked. So that's great.
Fantastic.
No changes to any of the decisions. My delay. That's great. And I guess we'll just move on to the hydrant conversation. And we're going to leave this off to Nicole or is Jamie? Okay.
I'll let you start, Jamie.
Okay, so this is the resolution 2623. So we are, as we just talked about with the increase to the budget for the concrete line item, we have advertised and then closed the bidding period for the installation of a new fire hydrant that the city is generously letting us tap onto their water main. And then also concrete repairs. So we did receive back, I think we had 4 bids come in for that project. We're still in the validation period right now. We're validating our lowest and making sure that they are responsive and responsible, that we can move forward with them. However, that being said, we have 500,000 budgeted for the fire hydrant project, now 300 for the concrete repair. So we are asking, once we have identified who our lowest responsible bidder is, that we authorization to enter into a construction contract with them, not to exceed 800,000, and that we can move forward with having that hydrant installed and concrete repairs completed.
Talked a lot about this and questions.
So just to confirm, the $800,000 maximum here includes the 300,000 that we just.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's really the change we're reflecting here, or
Sorry?
what is that mostly the change that we're also reflecting here?
We haven't approved this.
We haven't
contract
approved it all yet.
So you're authorizing me to sign a contract with the
the lowest responsive responsible bidder.
Up to 800,000.
Yes, up to 800,000.
How many bids were there?
There were 4.
And it looks to be possible to, some of them were at or below $800,000.
Yes, yeah, we should be able to do the whole thing at, below what we had budgeted for, so.
And is it gonna be 2 separate contractors? Is there one for concrete and one for the hydrant work?
So, the general contractor would have submitted the entire bid, but they would accounted for a concrete subcontractor in their bid, yes.
Do we know how long it's going to impact operations?
I'm not sure. Hopefully not too long.
It will be interesting,
Mhm.
but
And I also
it's like anything, you work through it and then at the end you're happy.
It's gonna depend too on like when we get going with this, as far as the weather and coming into fall, so.
Right.
Well, it's
now.
long awaited and sorely needed, so I'm happy to make a motion to approve resolution 26-23 for the fire suppression bid.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Heidi, seconded by Heather. Any further conversation? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. Well, thank you, folks. Exciting to see it move forward, and we'll move on to the board composition review, which we're required to do. And Nicole, walk us through it.
We are required to do this every 4 years. And some of you remember that in 2022, we went through this process and the board voted to expand to include some school board members. So that is how our board expanded in 2022. But we're required to do this once again. So every 4 years. In the board packet materials, I outlined the process that we go through to do this. So happy to kind of review that, but this is our initial board discussion. I've provided the RCWs for the board's review. There is a new section that was added into board composition that allows for community members to sit on the board. So that section was highlighted in yellow. So if you're looking through the RCWs and you see yellow, that is the new language that has been added. So just wanted to really highlight that. We have scheduled our board composition conference for October 20th at 12:30. We will be sending out letters to the chair of the Board of County Commissioners, to the mayor of the city of Port Townsend. The mayor will appoint individuals to sit at this conference. 3 county commissioners will attend this conference. And then at that point, discussion will be had about whether or not to expand the board. If that group decides to expand the board, it will come back to the full board with that kind of authorization or direction to expand. If not, then there is no further action taken by the board. I guess to add on to that, we do have a TAG group, the Transit Advisory Group, which serves as right now a really good place for community members to join and to have what I think is meaningful impact to Jefferson Transit and providing recommendations to this board. But again, this will be up to for discussion in the conference about whether or not the board would choose to expand.
Would you tell us just a little bit more about public transportation benefit areas, PTBAs, that you reference here? Is that just our whole, in our case, is it just our whole county?
Yes. So in our
Forks, right?
So in our county, yes, we operate under a PTBA. So some transit agencies are run by a city, some are kind of melded into a county, but we were formed as a PTBA. So we're a little bit different. So if we think of Everett Transit, Everett Transit is operated under the city. Also like River Cities Transit is operated under the city. So the city manages that transit agency. But we are different in that we operate kind of separate from the city or the county, but with oversight from both.
Who establishes PTVAs? What entity is that, at the state level or the local level, or?
That I would need to do some homework on that.
Yeah, okay.
I do know that Peter Padame sat at a desk and filled out all the paperwork and applied for the grants and kind of officially formed the PTVA, but
Under what authority, we're not sure.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, cool. Just for my education.
Any questions about the process?
It looks pretty cut and dried. Look forward to participating in it, and then, as I'm sure Mayor Adams does, or designating someone to participate in it. I'll just say that when I came onto this board quite a while ago, this was a pretty contentious item every year, as there was a lot of advocacy for adding more members, and there was some reluctance to give up the quorum of county commissioners on the transit board as well, because it is really giving up a power. And I really appreciate John and Vivian and their contributions to the board. So I'm just really pleased at the one change that we've made since I've been on this board. It's my second time I've been through third time I've been through the process now, I think. And it's, to build a consensus, you need a bigger table. And I think we're at a good size now. I mean, we'll go let the conference happen. But I'm really pleased with the expanded board that we have, and think that it's served the transit and the community as well. Any other thoughts?
Just that we have the TAG, the advisory group, which is a great place for community members to be involved in this organization, and we have some trouble recruiting people for that board as it is. So I would rather, I think, put more emphasis on recruitment there than to bring an additional person onto this board. I think that would make sense. I'm not really opposed to a community member sitting on this board, but it seems like we have a pretty good representation of the community on the TAG. So.
But also the community member, as I read it, the community member can just be anybody, like we're elected, so we're on here.
Right.
But the size wouldn't change necessarily if you changed the seat from school related to community, right?
Oh.
It was important to us last time we had this conversation that everyone be elected officials, since we're dealing with tax revenue, and so there was a real desire to keep it among elected officials. That's why we made that change, even though we contemplated just community members or transit users. I mean, we did, of course, drink TAG's milkshake a little bit to get you and John, and so we got people that are both transit utilizers and school board members. So I fully second Fred's emphasis that we should work on getting on bolstering.
Yeah, I think it's great to have us on here.
I think so too. Just makes me remember to say that I'd love to see more ways to hear feedback from TAG. I feel a little disconnected from the Transit Advisory Group. And I'd love to hear, the idea of not having an additional community member here would make a lot more sense to me. Especially if we were really strengthening our ability to hear directly from TAG more often. So that's something to think about.
Well, I was on TAG before this, and the chair of the TAG attended board meetings. I think I didn't attend them at that time.
Sometimes we've seen.
We haven't had people from TAG on a board meeting for a while now. I don't.
At times that can be a barrier for people wanting to be
Sure.
The chair or vice chair is that additional commitment to attend the meetings, if they've are working
Or even a written, just like a written summary, or if they take minutes, maybe the minutes could be included in our packet every month, that kind of thing. Just some, because if they're really are, directly hearing from users, I'd say, and or they're representing people who are using transit, it would be great to just hear, what are they talking about? What are they hearing from the public about? And
So
just seeing their minutes would
the
be awesome.
minutes are in the packet. They are the last item.
Okay.
They're regularly included.
Okay.
And also, Fred as the vice chair attends the TAG meetings, but as long as we don't create a quorum at the TAG, anyone that would like to join the TAG meeting, I've experienced nothing but welcomeness from that group. So
Of course. And I'd be happy to give a
Thing.
brief report on what happens at the TAG
That's great. And I've seen it.
at meeting as well.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Didn't get all the way to the end there. Tim Caldwell.
so no action taken on this, but the action will be coming subsequently.
Yes.
Any other thoughts before we move on to the school buses? Just buses or anything?
School buses.
Primarily, okay, just
Yes.
the big diesel buses. All right, take it
So
away. There's a lot of analysis here.
I included just a brief memo about the request that I received from Port Townsend School District and Chimacum School District. And the request was that they would like to fuel their school buses using Jefferson Transit's Fuel Island. This is really stemming from Cenex closing their fueling. So had a really good conversation, and we had a meeting in late July, and I invited Dr. Rosenberry, Dr. Mock, Monica Mulligan, and then Chief Black, as well as Leo, who is our maintenance clerk, and myself. And we sat down to just kind of have an initial conversation and discussion about what is this request? What does it look like? How would this impact Jefferson Transit? What would it look like financially for the school districts? So just a lot of kind of good conversation. It was important to me that Chief Black be a part of that conversation. I think all the board knows this, but East Jefferson Fire and Rescue fuels here on site. So any discussion that we're having about fueling, I feel like we need to include East Jefferson Fire and Rescue in that conversation. So lots of information that Leo put together that really framed the conversation about what does it look like if you have the school districts coming on site. We are very strategic with when we order fuel. Every time we have a truck come and drop fuel, it's a $900 fee, and that's not for the fuel, that's just for the coming out and dropping of fuel. So we have worked with East Jefferson Fire and Rescue to make sure that we are ordering fuel when we hit a certain level, so that we have enough if there is an emergency, that East Jefferson can still operate, Jefferson Transit can still operate. So we're very strategic about when we're ordering fuel, how we're budgeting for the drops the fees that we incur. We do charge East Jefferson $2,500 a year and it's an administrative cost. That cost has not increased since 2015. I think when we first started that contract with them, but that helps us with making sure that we're billing East Jefferson and just kind of doing the paperwork.
That's in addition to what they pay for fuel itself.
Yes. So we put together some numbers, got a good idea of how much fuel are the school districts using, what would it look like as far as how much bus traffic would we have through our gates, how many additional drops we would need to order throughout the year, how we're going to account for that additional cost, as well as our per gallon amounts fluctuate. So kind of just getting a better understanding from the school district about their ability and willingness to to pay to make sure that we, Jefferson Transit is being compensated fairly for this request. The school district seemed on board with, conversations about an administrative fee, about the additional drop fees, all of that. I wanted to just bring this, we're still in the process of having discussions, but I think this is a good time for the board to start weighing in about, yes, Nicole, keep having these conversations, or no, this isn't a direction that we want to go in, or just stop. Don't invite the school district to use the to use your fuel tank. So looking for a little guidance, some feedback about kind of the direction that we're going, what we're thinking about, maybe things we haven't thought about that we might want to consider. So really just wanted to kind of frame out the discussion, but excited to hear from all of you.
And I'd love to do it. Can we start with questions and then move on to opinions and suggestions afterwards?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So I don't know about the Chimicum, Port Townsend fueling things, but the county does fuel also. Why are they coming to Jefferson Transit?
I didn't specifically ask why they didn't go elsewhere with their request.
How many government supported fueling operations are there in the county?
With the size of tank, not many that has the size of the tank that we have. In thinking about, because a lot of the buses are fueling at Cenex, this seemed like a good place. There was discussion about the area that is off of
CFN.
is that it, over by Evergreen Fitness, because of that area over there. They get a lot of complaints. Their operators or their drivers don't feel safe going there if it's at night, or they just feel like it's not really a great place. Otherwise, they're fueling at one of the gas stations closer into town, and that's just very expensive. I did not specifically ask why they did not reach out to the county. I actually don't know much about the county's tanks. I don't know.
Well, we can try to answer that, and we can, of course, with more staff support to give a real answer. Before Heather goes, I just note that Heidi apologized for having to log off, but supports continuing the conversation. Heather, do you have a question?
Yeah, I guess just to feed into the sort of exploration to answer your question about, I think that's a really good question for, we should know the answer to that, right? Like we should, I think that I'll just jump to, I also support continuing the conversation. And one of the reasons for that has to do with a kind of a broader question. So my question for you, Nicole, is were you asked to participate in the recent tabletop exercise by emergency management? Okay. Yes. Around fueling on the county and in the county in general, and that had to do with looking at all of our fueling needs long term in the case of a regional emergency. And I know this is a circumstantial question, but I think it's a really good time to also fold in that sort of regional emergency context. And since we've just done this tabletop exercise around emergency management, I'd love to include Willie Bentz in this conversation to make sure that whatever decision we are making here is actually adding to or at least not complicating our capacity to respond in a regional emergency. I think we want to create collaborations that allow us to be most efficient in all cases on a day-to-day operations basis and in the case of a regional emergency.
I have a question. Just it looked like maybe we don't know if we've been inadvertently paying tax on our fuel. Did that get sorted out? I know that the school districts and the fire districts are not exempt from the motor tax, but
GTA does not. We submit a request to the state to get
reimbursed.
Okay,
gotcha. So that was sort of
through for JTA.
Okay, it was.
And every month we sort out.
They're not exempt from any tax.
I know. Yeah, for some reason.
We sort out what East Jefferson uses from our usage, and then that is what is submitted.
Gotcha.
We pay it and then get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that explanation. Any other questions? Okay, and we have two people who are, this is really preliminary, and you're really just kind of getting guidance. Should I continue this conversation? I'll throw in my own 2 cents. I think the conversation's healthy. Feel like, it seems like it's gonna be a substantial ask. I feel like the administrative fee is a little low at this point, but you guys are using real numbers to back that up, so I would support your efforts.
I would say the 2,500 that we're charging East
Little low.
Jefferson is a little bit low. I think what could be interesting is I know the fire commissioners came to you with the discussion on property taxes and work in lieu of in that. And I think that Jefferson Transit, if they were to come to us, I think we could reevaluate the amount and put a new value on our administrative costs.
And maybe some sort of escalator clause or review on a
Yes.
periodic.
Or a percentage or something.
Yes.
But also, I have another concern about this. If you open it up to those school districts, does that mean it's gonna be open to like, Rosine won't do it because it's too prohibitive to drive to get the fuel? We have our own system. But if others wanna join in, like where do we draw the line, or does a line need to be drawn, or?
Oh, I think a line definitely needs to be drawn. And one of the reasons I had Chief Black there is because of the table talk discussion. And actually at that meeting, I was really proud of Jefferson Transit and East Jefferson because we have conversations all the time about fuel and when the bridge was stuck open and the tugboat situation. And, Chief Black and I were talking about, okay, what's our plan? Like, what do we do if it's a few days, if you can't get fuel? And so we have contingency plans. So I'm proud of the work that we do on a regular basis about fuel. I would consider the school districts, but I think if others were coming to us, I'm not quite sure that it would really be that open for discussion.
Well, I'm thinking of the long-term consequence, like, maybe some other fire departments want to join in, maybe some, cause kind of place, like Humane Society, or, you know what I'm saying? It's
Jamie is shaking.
go down to,
Bill shows up with a cow skull to fill with.
drive around too.
I would not come to the board with like a request from the Humane Society.
But I think it behooves us to, as we're having this conversation, to have a policy or a parameter that says county governments only, or
I think the discretion of our
yeah.
general manager too. I mean, I believe her when she says she wouldn't bring a request from the
Right.
Humane
I'm a
Society.
believer too, but I just think it's good to have that
Yeah.
thing. I mean, what if she's run over by a bus? We don't.
Oh.
Sorry.
Electric bike.
Description of
I mean, it's
the transitory nature of all of us.
that's double puns. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I would just, I agree with what you're saying, but in all sort of, it's a light, I like the lightness of the conversation. And at the same time, I think the answer needs to be that we're seeing this, sort of the functions that all of these agencies provide to the public. We're seeing that as a whole system and not siloing ourselves into just protecting transit's resources, right? I know we're here to protect transit's resources as members of the Jefferson Transit Authority, and you as staff are pretty singularly focused on that. But I hope we're also about being at that broader table, and that we would make decisions based on what's actually going to serve our whole public system. And that we would say that we would consider if doing this tabletop exercise around how do we best manage fuel resources on this peninsula or as a county, that we would be open to saying, well, if it's better for the whole system and we can make it work for transit and it fulfills all of their costs, and we're even able to make a win-win, I'd love it if Jefferson Transit Authority made a little money off of it to administer it. I mean, that's a good thing, right? To enhance the whole system. So just.
I would echo those feelings as well. I think that governments are going to have to collaborate on some of these common services that they provide for them to continue to be offered, because if everybody just has their own little fiefdom, it's just going to be too expensive for the public ultimately to support that. So I think we get a little bit more efficient, a little bit more collaboration. It's going to be good for everybody all the way around.
I will say, I think we might want to talk about, so I've just asked for, capital budget adjustment for concrete repair. The majority of the concrete work that needs to be done is near our fuel island. So we are now looking at adding additional traffic through that area. So, it's not just the cost of the fuel, but it's looking at, upkeep. Or earlier this year, I did, we did put in the budget for replacement and some repair work on the actual fuel island, upwards of $50,000, right, to make sure that we're operational. So it's not really just fuel itself; it's the making sure that our equipment is up to date. And
installing a new. I mean, you do it anyways, right? It's the best practice to put that second filler in, but because of this project.
Yeah. So we, it's a little bit more complicated to add the dual nozzle pumps. Jamie and I thought, oh, this should be fairly easy.
Oh, really?
And it's actually not. It would require more than 50,000.
Oh.
But I think it's something in the future we may want to look at. And I think if we are able to receive the grant for the 111 property and we build out that facilities building, that removes that gate where right now we are parking. And so I think there's more options for additional dispensers to be put in, because one of our vulnerabilities is if our nozzle or pump goes down, then we go down.
Right.
So I think there's an opportunity for that. I don't think that's right now, but I think once we're able to clear up space along what is right now our gate or our fencing, that will.
And that's an improvement that supports all of our partners at that fueling station, whether it be just EPFR or if we had more school districts as well.
Yeah, that's a great example of a win-win.
Other thoughts? Should you want to poll, or you don't need action per se necessarily, or would you let?
I don't need action. Just hoping for like a thumbs up. Yes, keep having this discussion, Nicole. Also, school is about to start, and I guess some direction from you if this is something where we keep talking, but we allow them to come on property and fuel, or they don't come on property to fuel until we have a contract or an agreement in place.
I mean, your recommendation was to get agreement first?
Yes, but in doing that, it is October. So it's like mid to late October.
When is Cenex closing?
September, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I feel like that's maybe kind of a drop dead to try to get it going. I don't know. My preference would be to establish the agreement before you start letting them
Okay.
fuel. But that's, I don't know. Maybe other thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner. I mean, my concern about having everybody come is based on the idea that we're sharing, and it's going to be a lot more popular than we might think.
I suspect attorneys would have would want to weigh in on that as well, just reliability concerns and all that.
If there was, big hangups around that would make it, sort of impossible for them to not enter into some other kind of agreement. In the meantime, we could consider an interim agreement that says allowed to fuel for the cost of fuel plus whatever fee, and then or just the cost of fuel, and invoicing, but it's a limited time allowing us to explore a more permanent agreement. And so we could contemplate doing something temporary like that with a time limited end date.
I mean, we could certainly, you have that authorization already, don't you? I mean, if an ad hoc situation came up that you thought was justifiable, you could poll us individually and move forward. It doesn't feel like something.
Chimicum has come and fueled before during when Cenex was down and they just didn't have any options. And that was for a day and a half.
We've just invoiced them. Yeah, so consider a simple agreement that just says, you can do this for now while we contemplate, but this doesn't set a long-term precedent or intention.
I want to see if David has any input. It's been a little quiet.
No, sorry, I'm just coughing right now.
I can tell.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll give David a second to get his composure. It sounds generally like we're supportive with some caveats, and really getting that agreement in place prior would be our preference. But
Okay.
we have the authorization already to, of course, deal with an emergency, and we want to support our partners. But, David, anything else? I don't know. Great. Okay. Well, appreciate the conversation, and we will move forward to the fun one again. Kelly, you want to take us through how the rebrand is going?
Yes, I'm gonna share my screen because I think it'll be easier to read it. Okay, so I recently sent out an email to board members with the survey and the video from MAC, and they just kind of went through in the video the second concepts and how they came about getting to the second concept. So I'm just going to kind of do more of a high level of that presentation, and then we can discuss the new concepts, and then I can just talk about kind of like where we are at right now in the project and what the next steps are. So these were the last round of concepts and the color palette that MAC presented to the board. So there's two different concepts, and the board gave their feedback at that meeting, and staff, as well our internal group, gave some feedback to MAC. And they have come back for the first logo called Convergence. This is their round 2, and per our scope, it is the final round within the scope of our agreement. But if we decide that we want to do any other tweaks, then we'll have to see what that looks like. So this is Convergence, and they have kind of reformatted where the logo mark and the words are, and they have kind of made the F's a little bit artsy and designed them different than the normal font. They decided to mash together the words, but having Jefferson bold and Transit not bold. So it works that way with the different colors. And then they're showing that we can have a tagline underneath the logo. On the color palette, they have done some small adjustments to the color palette, making the seafoam green a little bit darker and adding a lighter version. And then they made this, their chartreuse color a little bit more green, and the red a little bit of a deeper red and not so bright. And this just kind of shows it, we'll call it live in action of stacking it different ways and how we could use it on different marketing materials. And then this is the second logo called Moving Forward, which they have reworked, and also showing that you can put the word Jefferson Transit under it. And they've mashed Jefferson Transit together in this one too, with Jefferson bold and Transit not bold. The color palette is the same for both logos. And they've done a few adjustments to this logo to change up the J and the A. That is a new one. And then this shows it kind of live in action, different uses for it, for formal documentation, like they mentioned. If we want to spell out Jefferson Transit Authority, we can use just the J by itself and just use Jefferson Transit with the tagline. Or in the middle, it shows you can use there's a chance it with just a tagline, and you can kind of mix and match colors.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Today, we're hoping to choose one of these two unless we.
So we are just again having a discussion on the 2 new concepts and just kind of get feedback from you guys. So yeah, that's what we're looking for today.
If we, okay, but I mean, if we could choose one, that would be helpful.
I think what our plans are right now, so the survey that I sent out to the board, we've also sent that to the stakeholder group and all the focus groups that consisted of community members, some staff members, and some stakeholders. And then we're also going to do the same thing with our staff, and we want to gather all the feedback from the survey that you guys have taken and that the focus groups and our staff are going to take. And then we want to provide all of that information at the October meeting with our recommendation for which logo that we would like to see approved.
Okay, so you just want to share today.
Yeah, and just kind of get any other feedback with the new concepts.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure I understood where your question was.
Yes, and let me see if there's anything else for where we're at. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. That the same survey and a video was sent out to all the groups and will be sent out to staff. And so once we have that finalized, we're going to gather all of the feedback, and that will be included in our recommendation to the board in October.
Okay, great. Maybe we can have a little discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Thoughts?
yeah, I have thoughts.
Go ahead, Vivian.
So I have thoughts after that meeting, and I mulled it over. The first thing that came apparent, which somebody else thought of too, is how tempting that A would be for graffiti.
Moving forward.
Yeah,
Second
the
option.
JTA where it stuck out.
Mhm.
I mean, my mind's not there, but it's perfect for penis drawing.
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, why do you need to draw another penis? There's already one there.
We did actually fix that and shorten the A quite a bit, so that was removed.
It was pointed out to me too.
Go on.
Anyway, and I look at these two, and the idea, I go back to when we contracted, it was supposed to be exciting and stuff. And when I look at these two designs and I look at the one we already have, the one we already have is looking better all the time. And there's no good way to say it, but these aren't very inspiring. They're not, I think the old one we have is, and plus I ride the bus and I survey people about the bus. Nobody cares about the logo. And the thing that I'm trying to do is make it easier for riders. And I don't see that these contribute at all. I mean, it's blunt, but that's how I feel.
Appreciate the candor.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
Yeah. I think the issue of the logo is really has nothing to do with ridership particularly.
Right.
Our brand as an organization is really built by the service that we provide and how well we do it. And that's what creates our brand, not a logo. But at the same time, we need something for all the different applications that we use logos and things and all the printed material and websites and all of that. And we need options about whether one's rectangular or square or whatever. I mean, you just, from a graphic standpoint, you need options for a logo. So I think that's more what this is about than anything else. I do think, I remember one of the goals was to feel a little bit more playful, have a little bit more fun, an image that's just a little bit more fun. And so I think that comes across a little bit more in the paint jobs on the bus. The bus looks a little bit more festive, I think, with some of these color treatments and logos. So I agree with you that this doesn't help us serve people better necessarily, but it does give us a consistent look and feel and a way that we can use that across all the media that we produce.
David's got his hand up.
Go ahead, David. Thank you, Fred.
Yeah.
So, I mean, appreciate Vivianne's comments. I really think the old logo looks really outdated. It was very busy. And I think the concept one, the convergence concept, looks very corporate and boring. Concept number two, I think looks way better. It's got some real visual appeal to it. It's something that really says like, I mean, to the branding concept, it's something that is very recognizable, and I like just the shape of it, the simplicity of it, and the colors really are fantastic. So yeah, that's the one I like. I really particularly like the JTA Jefferson Transit Authority. I would drop it, connecting what matters. I don't think we need a slogan like that on any of this. I would lose that entirely. But I think just the JTA, and if we need to say Jefferson Transit Authority is good enough. In fact, I think that's better than including connecting what matters because it's simpler and it has more of a brand quality. And I really, again, like that red bus stop with the JTA and the words bus stop on it. That's very attractive to me.
Thank you,
So,
David.
I got a question for you. Before you talked about you liked it because it seemed retro. And the one we have now with the bus coming out seems both playful and retro. But you don't like it? Can you talk
I think
about
it
that a little
looks I mean the JTA one looks retro, as in like pretty far throwback, as like real 1960s 1970s feel to it. And that's sort of, I don't know, there's certain brands I think back then that had this kind of simplicity in logos that looks really good, and a return to that form I think is really positive for an attractive branding. I think that our current logo again is just way too busy, and I just don't think it has that attractiveness.
Thank you, David. Heather, you got thoughts you want to share?
I don't know. I've always struggled with branding sort of processes. I am in favor of moving forward with the tools that the staff needs in order to market us clearly and get the message out there. It's when we get bogged down into the which one works that I start to feel like it's maybe not a great use of time. I would be fine with either one of these. I have leaned toward convergence in all of my comments so far. I think it's clean and professional looking, and at the same time, I think it's all the stuff that gets paired with JTA. It's basically the when it's put into action that I like the JTA logo better. It is more fun, and but I'm not so sure that it's the actual JTA logo. I think I don't like that as much. What I like is the kind of 1960s, 70s feel of the way it gets actualized with the other part of the design. Yeah, exactly. So if there's any way for us to put those two things together, that would be great. Otherwise, I think I'm in favor of getting these tools clarified. Thank you for pushing this forward. I think the way to do this is to do what you're doing, which is to get all that feedback from users themselves and make as concise and fast of a decision as we can with getting lots of, and balancing that with getting lots of input. I think you're doing that well, Kelly, and with all due respect to the sort of the work that you do and the industry that you come from and what we've asked you to accomplish for the Jefferson Transit Authority. I think you're doing that process well, and I look forward to making a decision so we can implement it and actually get back to doing the work of.
Thanks, Heather.
I like having lots of input. I think that's really good. I would suggest, though, just to be kind of radical here, there's 3 choices, 1, 2, and the one we already have. Just to see
You might be
washes out.
Oh no, you're on an island there.
Minority, yes.
I don't think
so. But
at least put a bus we have on it.
It must be half.
The thing about making this snappy, because it's only, I'm assuming it's a red one with a chartreuse and a bus stop sign. It seems snappy, right? There isn't any equivalent on the other one. If you push it back to that one.
Yeah, there's the bus stop sign
Well,
there,
it's
which should be
JTA,
red.
But it's not transit. I mean, there isn't a thing like that. So of course that one looks more snappy.
Well, I'll share my thoughts, and I think I was on the island with David in favor of moving forward at the first one. I still like them both. I think they're both pretty strong branding concepts. I think Convergence got better. I like the F's a lot, and I like the non-bolded. I think Moving Forward got a little worse. I don't like the J as much. I think I already made my big comment on it, except unless it has a road going through it, then I like it.
Yeah, the road going through.
Like it's a traffic jam.
Right, I'm moving forward, or are we going in circles? But ultimately, I watched the video with my own style consultant who has created 5 logos for businesses that I have had. That I love all of them. And she first said, "What's JTA?" Because we call it pretty ubiquitously Jefferson Transit. And she had a much stronger positive response to Convergence than she did with Moving Forward. So I'm leaving the Moving Forward island, and I am fully. And though I think there's elements that are really good about it, but I think focusing on Jefferson Transit, which is how the users use it, and focusing on something that like I had good feelings about both. She had an active dislike for the Moving Forward and really liked Convergence. And to me, that's enough to say I think Convergence will be more appealing to more people where I am right now. Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Would you guys like me to share John's feedback? Because I did offer up one-on-ones with the board, and I was able to talk to him, and he wasn't able to make the meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, please.
So he did say that he does favor one Convergence, but he would be okay with both. He loves the bold font with Jefferson and the lighter font with Transit in them together. And he wished that the Convergence could have a JT or JTA on the symbol with the road, so that that's what he suggested, that he would like it better. And he likes the J in the JTA logo better if it has the road going through it in the full JTA as well. And he says the bus stop signs should definitely be red.
Okay. So just conversation. I don't know, any last thoughts? Any other staff want to throw down right now? No?
I think at this time we still are wanting the organic feedback from everybody.
Okay.
And in October, when we give you our recommendation, then I think you hear how we would like to move forward.
All right.
With hearing all of the feedback that we've gotten.
We'll patiently let the process play out.
All right.
And then I agree that it would be nice to finalize and get in action.
Okay. Well, one thing you kind of alluded to is too many changes now add to the cost, right? Can you just talk a little bit about scope?
Scope of our agreement with MAC, these are the final concepts that are within our agreement. So if we wanted to tweak these concepts anymore, then we would have to talk to them and have some sort of additional agreement, and it would cost more money. Yes.
Good to know.
So
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts about process? I mean, that's what you need for today?
yeah, just a discussion and your thoughts. So I will stop sharing. Thank you guys for your feedback.
So I have a question. Has there been, I mean, we hired them to do the whole thing, but has there been anybody, like Greg talked about his, what do you want to call her?
Wife.
Wife.
Stylist.
My stylist. My better half.
Better half. Yeah, I like has an idea about it. Has anybody responded by saying, "Oh, I have a great idea. Here it is"?
Like I have a great idea for like designing
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a couple those along the way within, yes, the focus groups or staff and stuff like that, yes.
And then does he look at those or do they go anywhere? The ideas that people, local writer presumably has about it?
Well, I think that we take in all of the feedback, and that is what the feedback we gave to them before they did these last two concepts, and they made changes based on all the feedback that we'd gotten thus far. Yes.
So if the better half comes up with one.
I don't want to add to the scope. Here, but that's not. She was happy with Convergence, so she would put it on her store. All right. With that, we'll move on to the tag recruitment.
Yes.
Yeah, take it away, Nicole.
So at our last tag meeting, Linda and Debbie, or the chair and vice chair, asked that I add this to the board meeting. Just a reminder that tag is looking for new members and asking that the board play an active role in helping us get the word out that we are looking for additional tag members. So our tags request is really just that if you are out in the community and you're engaging to ask or kind of drop some nuggets, like Jefferson Transit is looking for additional tag members. So I have included a little bit of what they're looking for, in some representation. We are definitely looking for youth or young adults. We think that would be a valuable a voice that's not currently on the tag, especially looking for folks from District 2 or 3. So yeah, I'm not going to read the whole memo to you, but yeah, they're just really hoping that the board will keep that top of mind, that we are looking for some additional tag members.
How many people are actually active in tag these days?
Amanda, we have 8 members.
Yeah, it's kind of
8.
7 or 8.
They show all 8 show up consistently.
Consistently, they are showing up. We are losing a tag member at the end of the year. Dave Nakagawa has let us know that he'll be kind of terming out, and we'll look to renew that commitment to tag. So yeah, looking for. And he's honestly been a great contributor. Not only does he ride transit, but also with kind of the, yes, and capital projects, kind of that hat that he wears. So
Can we put something on our webpage that says, recruiting for the,
On the
you care, here's how you can speak out.
So we have information on our buses, ways to apply. We've Kelly's done some social media posts. Yeah, we can make sure
That
we
was going to be my
remember.
question. If there's a social media, so it's one, you've said how the board can help, and first one is to share recruitment materials. So those materials are a Facebook post that we could share basically. And then is there like a flyer or something that we could take with us to, if we run into people?
Yeah,
to
we
hand
can
out
definitely.
to?
I can let you guys know when I post another Facebook post so you can share it, and then
That'd be great.
I have a flyer that I can just send out to you guys.
Perfect.
And then on our webpage, I can do a newsflash article, and then I can also put it in the little sliding carousel up at top for some time. And
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be
their website's the first thing they see, so
perfect.
I'll work towards all of that.
After the schedule,
right by the schedule. Yeah, before you get to the schedule.
the public meeting.
Okay. Well, thanks to Fred's deft hand, we're well ahead of our schedule. Not only do we have time for staff reports, but it's gonna take your time.
What's the tag meeting?
Huh?
How is the tag meeting?
It's good. I haven't been there for a while. When was the last one? It's been
July.
yeah.
Every other month.
Every other month.
We are the
It was longer ago than that.
when?
Maybe for you.
Well, I can move into my report.
Take it away.
Okay. I won't read the entire report because I think it was pretty exhaustive. I think some things, high level things that we're working on right now is that we have some openings here at Jefferson Transit. So we are still looking to hire for a custodian, transit operator. Don't know that we've offered anyone the dispatch position yet. So we still are actively looking for a dispatch position. In my report, I say accounting specialist, but that is an error because we have one and she's wonderful. But we are also looking for a maintenance cleaner and a maintenance clerk and the fleet and facilities manager. So
Good prospects for the fleet and facilities manager?
yes, we will be having some interviews the first week in September. We have both some internal candidates and some external candidates. This past week, or last week, feels like this week, but last week we were at our state conference, and so got to spend some time with Kitsap Transit, and they have volunteered to sit on our interview panel to kind of help us kind of evaluate applicants and kind of work through the interview process together. So happily took them up on that offer. So hopefully we will have some good news for you by the next board meeting.
How many candidates did you get?
I want to say we
We
got
don't know about a dozen,
Wow.
but out of that, there's probably 8 that actually had qualifications that fit. And then we need to review and go from there. So that's kind of where we're at actually.
That's pretty healthy. That's good.
Speaking of the state conference, we were able to, or got the privilege of honoring our 2 employees of the year. So Chris Rupert and Leah Waugh. Leah's a transit operator and Chris is in facilities. So just fun to get to celebrate with them at the Wall of Fame banquet. So that was fun. I presented at the conference. Jefferson Transit presented our COA, and we brought Left Turn, Right Turn with us to kind of help present and talk about how doing a COA with a rural transit agency differs from a larger transit agency. So good presentation, well attended, not only by Jefferson Transit staff, but others. So that was exciting.
That is exciting.
Finder's fee if you get any other business from your presentation.
Yeah.
10%, I get that if someone buys a Tesla.
Show up, yeah.
Good to have a good show.
Yeah.
So on the Washington State Transit Insurance Pool, I sit as the board member for that insurance pool. But as an agency, we have alternates to that pool or that board. So I have selected Mel Lawless to be an alternate along with Carrie to be an alternate to attend some of those meetings and in my absence vote. So that's exciting. We're excited to kind of get some more input into that board and to bring that knowledge back here to Jefferson Transit. We took possession of our 3 JTOC vehicles. So they are sitting out in our yard. One of them was used as a show vehicle at the conference. So that was kind of fun to see one of our
Did you drive
vehicles
it back?
all spiffed up. They drove it back for us, which was nice. But we're excited to kind of do all the inspections and get those vehicles out to Forks. So that was really exciting for us. What else can I talk about that we haven't already talked about? Jamie submitted an application for our facilities maintenance building. That application was due today or yesterday? Today, but we got it done yesterday, so we're ahead of the game.
Way ahead.
Yeah.
So we will wait patiently to hear about that, and that was the State Bus and Bus Facility grant. So
And that's not a competitive grant, that's kind of
competitive.
It's a competitive.
Is it competitive? Oh,
Yes. And with funding being tighter in Olympia, our grants will become increasingly competitive. But I think we have a good shot. I think it's a really kind of good project. We are also in our 30-day comment period on the Gateway Visitor Center. That's is exciting. It's really exciting because that means we've jumped through almost all of our hoops on the NEPA process. So big thanks to Jamie for heading that up. And
You know, we have an expert if we have to
Yes.
do another NEPA, right?
Easy.
we can now say we've done
Somebody who's done it.
Yes.
Let's say expert.
So once we complete that process, that 30-day comment period, and if nothing comes from that, then at that point we can start having conversations with the county about purchasing that property. So that's exciting. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it. I won't repeat some of the things we've already talked about. No one needs that.
Do you want to just touch on ridership numbers just really briefly on the JTalk down because of the vehicles and
JTalk is not down because of the vehicles, although we don't like riding in the vehicles.
Might the new vehicles.
It might go up.
is there anything else
I'm
to?
kind of kidding. I mean, it's a hard go over there. So Tammy Sheener has been our Jefferson Transit Olympic Connect coordinator since 2012, and she's retiring. So I'm going over there, trying to be happy about it. That drive, it's great,
Wonderful.
But
You can't take the bus.
Going there.
actually, I can't. There isn't a bus. Well, I mean, I could, but that would make you would have to have hotel stays and increased expenses. So the general manager wouldn't approve that. Sure. But I think that's an opportunity to kind of ask some questions and just get in there because I have to, right? I think we just don't have the commuters that we used to have. It used to be a lot of staff used to take the bus from Forks and go to Claylock, and that has dropped off. So, but ridership over here is great. Ticking up. It's again before COVID. The numbers are shuttles, our 20-minute shuttles are bursting with people, which is a great thing. Kingston is holding steady. It's a very, very popular route. People love taking that. So, yeah. A couple other things from my report. I'll take over from there unless you had something else.
Well, I will say one thing about the current JTalk vehicles. And it's so interesting because I went to Forks to ride Forks the out to Amanda Park and back, and I was sitting in the front seat, and when you looked out of the windshield, you couldn't see fully out of the windshield, so you could only kind of see down to the road. And by the time I got to Amanda Park, my head was just like killing me, and I was calling Amy and Des and Jamie, and I was like, we got to get a vehicle where I can see out there, because if I'm hating this, like taller people are definitely hating this. So maybe it is something. I don't think so. Those vehicles are old, so they've been around the block. But wait, what? So I think it's interesting though. It's like when you're really riding these as passengers, you're thinking about like, oh, what's the rider experience? And this might look really good on paper, but
Appreciate you going out and doing that.
an hour and a half in, you're just like, I would love to see something besides this white compartment.
The ride isn't that comfortable, and
No.
don't take the advice and say, "Oh, it's sit in the back."
No,
it's not
sit
fun.
back.
Catch air.
That one, that's a real kidney buster. That
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
And the
So
reason
new vehicles will change this.
Yes, they are a much sturdier vehicle. I think for the passengers, it will be much more comfortable. They're smaller. But I've already heard feedback that the driver's seat is not great. So I'm already looking for cushions before we can even roll those out, because that's really important, especially when, it's a long route. then you turn and burn and come back. It's, yeah,
So
and they're beautiful vehicles. I think something shiny, new, a good time to kind of go out and say, here's Jefferson Transit, and having those conversations.
Yeah.
I'll be bebopping around because I'll be waiting for the coordinator to finish up her school route. So yeah, so that's exciting.
Do some communication and marketing to
Yeah.
talk to people, tell people the new vehicles are there and to give it a try again,
Yep.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think refreshing some flyers. I think we did that at some point, but I think this is a good opportunity to highlight those again at our bus stops. And there's a couple coffee shops and a grocery store, a one stop. What is that called? That big
The
store?
grocery store.
Just the main, yeah. The Outfitters.
Outfitters. Oh, it's next to the, it's shares, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Stop shopping kind of thing. So
Thriftway?
Yeah.
Is it a thriftway? Thriftway?
could be.
I will say, along the same vein of vehicles, at the conference, it's really a fun time because there's lots of different vehicle vendors there, and they bring lots of different vehicles. And so Amy, Jamie, and I and Kelly we were really drawn to one vehicle that we thought would be maybe a good option for us to look at in lieu of a fixed route bus. There's some real requirements that we would have if we were looking at a vehicle that's smaller that we could put on a fixed route. And that would be that the ramp would just fold down, and that it wouldn't require a driver to get out of the seat and use the ramp externally, right? Like we have to have a ramp that goes down. So I think we've identified a vehicle that might be a good fit. And what I was hoping to do is they offered to bring us the vehicle for a week and a half, so that we could kind of just play around with it. It is electric, but I would love to possibly figure out a way that I could meet up with some board members so that you could take a look at this is what a smaller option would look like. Because we've been talking about that, right? Like, is there a smaller option? But I think once you look at it and get in it, and then try to kind of visualize it on a fixed route, I think that maybe feels a little bit different. So just know that's something that we're going to kind of be working on. And so we'll be reaching out to you, obviously not all together, but would love to get some feedback like, yes, we think this would work, or
What are
no.
you guys thinking?
Yeah, like this is what we were thinking. What's the feeling from the board? Is this something that we should be looking at? And those vehicles are less than $400,000, I think. So if we are looking at possibly, going in that direction, it is a bit more cost effective.
We get the opportunity to
You
do that.
could do it for a board. Maybe you could do a route from Port Townsend to the board meeting for
Yeah.
just to
Pick what you guys up.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we wouldn't have a quorum.
Or a rolling meeting, you can notice it on the bus. You can do a rolling meeting.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound complicated. Amanda's like shaking her head. Like that day. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, one of the reps has already reached out to me. He's pretty excited. And, of course, there's layers of they have to be on the Buy America. And when you have these conversations, with these reps, and you're all excited, and they're like, oh, we're not on the state contract. You're like, okay, bye-bye. But yeah, some really awesome looking vehicles, different, but also, 35-foot electric Gillig. That's really, really big. There's some, I think, room for a smaller electric vehicle. And we were looking for microtransit vehicles and got some ideas for electric. Not as many as options as there, but it was a good time. Yeah, so staffing update. We're just recruiting. We have a class of 2. I'm trying to get 1 in. We're doing an interview tomorrow. It would be wonderful to start with 3. We need more because we have a transit operator retiring in October. and then another one in February. And that will probably start the floodgate for probably 2 others. So we're gonna keep on keeping on with that. Yeah, between me and Mel going over to JTalk to help transition, and we're gonna be recruiting a new coordinator. It's part-time position. And I'm going over there to work with the shop also. There's a component that the coordinator does that affects the Quileute School District does work for us over there. So we have to make sure that we're accountable with the work that they do in inventory for parts. So it's a kind of a jack of all trades kind of coordinator position. So I need to make sure that I understand so I can help recruit a new person. It works. Safety and training updates. So Mel Lawless visited the Canal Tracks neighborhood for a request for maybe looking at a bus stop there. I was on the safety committee at Jefferson Transit in 2017, and I was tapped in to evaluate a stop in that area. It was proposed to Washington State Department of Transportation and Washington State Patrol. It was denied. And the reason is
2017.
yeah. They have to think about people in their personal vehicles and a big, slow moving vehicle pulling out in front of them, right? We're not school buses. We can't stop. We're not yellow. We don't have flashing lights. And I would say even there's some school buses drivers. I used to drive school bus 5 years off of my life. I did it for 6 months. But people just don't pay attention on the road, and so it's tricky. But this environment with WashDOT is a little friendlier, multimodal. They're doing a crosswalk in front of the Brennan store. I've been in contact with the Brennan General Store owner, who's very, very worried about his parking, as he should be. But I've connected him with Todd, the engineer at WashDOT, to make sure that we can have the minimal impact. But it is a popular bus stop, and people need to be able to cross that highway safely. So thinking about canal tracks, you know, they might be open. So we're gonna go for another proposal to see if it's something they'd be open to. It's a little more, they're open because of the multimodal and all of the grant applications that they're getting, which is part of the Brennan General Store, that easement, that project they have money for safety improvements. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I feel bad that the General Store is stressed out about it because they have those big trailers that want to just pull in. So we're going to try and minimize that as much as possible. Yeah,
There's signs to pull in at the Whistling Oyster,
right?
Not the Whistling Oyster.
Gooey Duck?
The Gooey Duck.
The Gooey Duck.
Yeah.
So yeah, and ridership, I kind of went over that. Yeah, I think that's about it. I will say that I think our 20-minute shuttles, we see periods where they're running a little bit late, but it's better than it was because when I did the run cutting, I split the shuttles to different drivers. So it's not the beautiful trolley going because it can't keep up with the traffic. There's a lot of traffic downtown during the summer. Thankfully, people are buying ice cream and spending all their money here, but it's like, get out of the way. 20 minutes. So there's been a positive feedback from the public and from the drivers that they feel like they know that somebody's next up when it takes 25 minutes to do that. So.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Sarah, you want to give us a report from the?
Yes, I
mobility
do.
side?
So on the mobility side, we're still interviewing for the fourth dispatcher. We've kept it open. We had one more application come in. So we're gonna, after that, we'll hopefully make a decision. We're really looking for a good fit. It's such a small group in there. So, for transit technology, next Wednesday, we're going to start a new paratransit software. Very excited about it. We've just been diving headfirst these past few weeks, getting all the information switched over, training the drivers, training all the staff that are going to be relevant and needing to know or use the system. So far it's gone really smoothly. You know, we're taking this time to kind of note down anything preventative. So when we actually do launch it next Wednesday, we'll be ready to roll. And also just giving means for drivers, you know, if something does come up, so they know how to handle the situation, call dispatch, and get everything in place. But so far, it's really user friendly, and we're excited about it. And all the tablets work in the vehicles. Yes, it's great. So on the Caddy VL side, we've kind of put that on hold right now. We're still in the midst of it, but we've really been focusing on the paratransit software right now because we're so close to the launch date. And then, you know, we're going to be going full force into that right after. For outreach, I went with one of the field supervisors over to the Port Townsend High School for that we met with some transitional students and just talked about different travel options on the fixed route buses, travel training, and dial ride options. And we gave a tour of one of our cutaways. And I also attended an event at Gathering Place. They're moving their location, and we have a lot of connection with them, you know, with our dial ride services. So it was nice to go and be a part of the community for that. In terms of ridership, our ridership has it decreased 3% from May to June, but bounced right back up again 7% in June to July. And it's continuing to increase year by year. And that is all I have, unless anybody has questions.
I think the dial-a-ride increase is an interesting trend. We know that dial-a-ride is a really expensive service to operate. So these trends are, depending on how you look at it, a little concerning that there are so many community members who are qualifying for dial-a-ride, and Jefferson Transit, especially as we're going into budget season, we're going to look at how do we keep up with, the number of rides. This is, based on when I was in the dispatch office scheduling rides, this is a substantial increase. This is really kind of amazing. And so making sure we have enough staff to accommodate all of these rides and vehicles to accommodate all of these rides. We are required to operate.
I'm sorry.
We keep a close eye on these dial-a-ride numbers, but this is something that will affect our budget, and especially as we're accepting applications from individuals who are living farther outside of Port Townsend, just the amount of time it takes to go back and forth to pick up and drop off individuals. So just a little something about
But there must be a certain point at which you have enough people you can put a route there, and then none of them qualify anymore.
No, because it's door to door. You have to be able to drive up to their door to pick them up and bring them.
I mean, if when I broke my leg, I signed up for dial-a-ride, and if I understand it correctly, if you're within a mile of the bus stop, there's some limits, I forgot.
A mile.
Yeah, 3/4 of a mile of the bus stop, then you can't get dial-a-ride, right?
Well, so eligibility in relation to the bus stop are separate. So you can qualify for dial-a-ride. It's based on your ability to navigate, to get on or ride the fixed route buses in relation to a condition or disability.
If you live right by the bus stop, you would still qualify for dial-a-ride.
Yeah, so if there's something impeding you from using the fixed route and it's in relation to a disability or a condition, then we take that into consideration. If you live or you're wanting to get a ride within the 3/4 mile radius, then we can go to that location as long as it's safe for the vehicles as well. So we get as close as possible. But if you say you live outside of that 3/4 mile, you can still be eligible for the services and ride when you're within that radius. But we do have meeting points then if you're going to need it from, say your residence and into the service area. And that would be the rider. They would need to find a ride into the service area. Yeah.
Is there any special funding for that, for dial-a-ride, other than our regular funding?
That's a good question.
So once biennium, there are formula funds that we've received, sales tax equalization. There is a special needs paratransit formula fund, if the money is there, coming from the state, that we do get a portion of that based on our agency size compared to other agencies that we can then use as part of our local match to our operating grant. But
You don't have to apply for those funds. It's
no,
just.
those are the funds. So again, based on agency size and availability of the funding, it's not a very big. It may be in our 2-year operating biennium, it might be 5% of what our matches. So it's I want to say it's insignificant, but it's not a complete game changer. It's not funding the service.
Sure. You might use it to match a grant application.
Sounds like a legislative work.
And there's some some things you can do. And as we're getting the new paratransit software in, this has been a big part of the conversations too, is what can we do to help, because there are different types of eligibility. There's conditional, there's non-conditional. So, looking at different ways where we can enforce some of the conditions, but keep it practical so we can have the dispatchers of us being able to enforce that. And then also travel training. So teaching individuals, sometimes they can ride the bus, really helping them to have that freedom to use a fixed route bus and the dial ride when they're able to. And that doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to use dial ride if they're eligible under certain conditions. So, it's going to be a step-by-step process as well, but, keeping those other things in mind, that what we can do to help get as many people on the fixed route buses, and then have the ability to be using the dial ride service when it's really needed as well.
So I don't know, is there any additional update on the fleet and facilities, or did you kind of?
I definitely want to talk about our carpet replacement.
Okay, well, let's do that and then we'll
Not
go
sure
into a bit of marketing.
if everyone can look down. We have new carpet. Thank you to the board for allowing us to budget for new carpet. It is in all areas where there was carpet before. This is exciting. It's worth mentioning. We have new carpet.
It doesn't even stink.
No, they did a great job. We went with McRory's. So also really proud that we were able to source the carpet locally. So, keep our funds in county. So that was exciting. Shelter replacements. We did replace 2 shelters in front of Chimicum High School. So we need to rehab the shelters that were there, but we replaced them with red shelters. I think it's a good look for us. I like that. And then, that's all I have. So I can turn it over to Kelly.
Okay.
All right. So continuing with outreach and advertising, I have some monthly advertising that I do in the Coffee News, printed ads, and the Main Street newsletter. And most recently, I just got in the Hood Canal Chamber e-newsletter. So they did a spotlight for us for the first one. And I'm working towards being in their monthly, but I just want to strategically think about what ads I'm doing, because that's more of like the Quilcene-Brennan area. So I will work towards getting monthly in there. We're doing Sunday service promotion. I've done a couple campaigns on social media. We have a flyer that's in I call it the spotlight section on the buses. So as soon as you walk on the bus, that first black panel you see is where we have Sunday service flyers. So hopefully everyone that gets on the bus sees that. And then I also make sure at every event I have Sunday service flyers on my display board, and we promote that at the events. We've done a few Wednesday farmers markets, which the Wednesday markets are a little more scarce. We've had some meaningful conversations with people there. I do see a theme that most people are interested in getting to Seattle and that Kingston Express route. So talking to people about that. And there are some people still that don't know that we are zero fare, or that we go to Sequim and Paulsbo and Kingston and Brennan. So it is good to be out there in the community and helping people realize that. That map that I designed, I think it's really helpful for people to see it. And I've gotten lots of requests for people to have a print of it. I know I still need to send that to you, and I will do that. So hopefully I can add that into my printing budget for next year to get their brochures printed and get those out and distributed, because I think that will be really helpful for getting people around the 4 counties in the Olympic Peninsula and promoting people with car-free trips. I've been really focusing on our social media, and it just keeps continuing to grow, and we're getting a lot more interaction on all of our posts, which is really great. We recently tried this new fun promotion with Main Street for Concerts on the Dock, where we were riding the shuttle and passing out raffle tickets. And then there was a little raffle that we put JT swag in, and Main Street put reusable drink cups in.
Cool.
And then we would pull a winner with the concerts. And I would sit at their table under the tent during the concerts, but that seemed to not get anybody. People just wanted to buy beer coupons and chips. So we did that for July and figured it wasn't a really great use of our time, but it was fun and something new we were trying. So I'm working on other ideas to help promote concerts and just promote people riding the bus. And a few events that we've had since the last regular meeting. We did All County Preparedness Day. We were at the Veteran Stand Down and the Jefferson County Fair that just happened. And then upcoming, we have the Wooden Boat Festival. And we're going to be in the Quilcene Fair and Parade again this year. And then we just have a couple more farmers markets that we're going to do a couple Saturday and Sunday markets. And I think that's all that I have. If you guys have any questions for me?
Well, you know, I had was overjoyed when I heard Nicole recently refer to our rates as free fare. And I still hear you talking about zero fare, and I feel like
Drilled into my head when I started that we were zero fare, and so I have a harder time going away from that because
you're with it. The alliteration, the clarity of it. I'm asking.
am I with
Are you supportive of utilizing in promotional materials now free fare rather than zero fare?
free fare or fare free?
Yeah, or
Both.
fair free.
Yes, and.
I am open to using it if my boss
Nicole is done fighting.
You got to red bus shelters. I think everything else.
I'm not, I don't have enough fight in me. Fine.
I'm not. That doesn't feel quite as good as it felt when I was saying it, but yeah, I think it's more compelling, and I think it's clear because zero fare always sounded like there was an asterisk after it. Yeah, but you have to take off your shoes or something. Yeah.
Towards transitioning into that tax, but like I said, for 3 years it's been zero fare, so I have to train my brain to
Right. That's why I
say fare free or free fare.
Encourage you to blossom.
yes, thank you for your willingness. All
I've
right.
enjoyed hearing you guys
Right,
talk about the
I don't get that many wins, so it's like, yeah. Good. All right. Any other questions for Kelly?
You know, Kelly, the Quilcene and the Brennan Community Centers both have a newsletter. I don't know if you're aware of that. You can put stuff in those.
You did not know that.
Down there a few things.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll reach out to them. And I forgot to mention, I do have plans to do some outreach in the J-Talk area. I've been thinking about getting a little Transit 101 presentation at the library and then doing some kind of tabling at Peninsula College. So I'm going to work on reaching out to them and do something in September, hopefully, in that area. And then while I'm down there, I can flyers and all the shelters and around the areas like we did a
Maybe
while
they
ago.
have like a newsletter kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. I will definitely reach out to both of them and see if I can get in the newsletters.
Because I'm gonna learn a lot about Forks. Excited.
And their community Facebook page.
Beautiful.
I do follow them.
Oh, and it's on
Oh.
tomorrow morning.
It's got its own.
All right, so that concludes the staff report. So we will open for public comment. I don't know if we have any public online, but if you're interested in making a comment on any topic, we'd like to hear from you. You can hit the raise hand button or star 9 if you're on the phone.
Getting hands up online.
Okay, anyone, no public in the room? I'll make one more call. If anyone with us online would like to make public comment, you can hit the raise hand button or star 9 if you're on the phone. You over?
Nope.
Okay, I will close public comment. We have a moment left, so before I adjourn, anything for the good of the order? Future agenda topics? Well, thanks, Fred, for saving us all 8 minutes.
Well, I would like to say, when I took the boat out and I came back. I rode the bus home.
Excellent.
And I was so pleased at how many people are on it and how positive they all were about the bus.
That is a lovely way to end. Thank
You
you.
have your boat at Boat Haven in Port Townsend?
Yeah, we did a trip
Oh.
north and came back and ended it.
Wow.
But,
The last meeting she was on the boat.
well, yesterday I was on the boat.
Oh, okay. That's why you look so relaxed.
I'm so relaxed.
Great.
And part of it was my phone got locked, so I couldn't use it for anything.
Even better.
Perfect.
No,
Yeah.
no calls, no texts.
Right,
no-
right. Tell me how to do that.
Pictures,
Yeah,
nothing.
what's the button for that? Cool. All right.
His hand up.
Oh, David, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're on the feel good stories about transit. I've been making a point of riding the bus to go grocery shopping with my 3-year-old daughter on Sundays. So trying to boost the Sunday numbers and boost the loves riding the bus.
Oh, that's great.
So it's a lot of fun and enjoying talking with the bus drivers. And then this last weekend, I was pretty pleased with how many people I saw on the bus. So it's looking like hopefully the numbers are continuing to tick up.
Working. Yeah, we didn't talk about Sunday service, but it's still looking, up to the right.
It's
Yeah,
going strong.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, David. Thank you,
The
Vivienne.
bus I rode was full. I mean, pretty full. There
Wow.
was a couple empty seats, but it was good.
Yeah, excellent.
All right. All right. It's working. All right. With that, we are adjourned. Have a good week, everyone.